There are two primary causes for high blood pressure. First one is a growing glomerulosclerosis, a growing scarring over of the kidney. The second one is peripheral vascular resistance. Let me explain both. Your kidneys have little filtering fingers on their inner portions. As the fibrosis builds up in your kidneys, it begins to cover over these little fingers. So then instead of having all this filtering area, you've got less. So imagine I'm putting little rubber fingers on my fingers, and we're covering up a good bit of it. All of a sudden, I have to preface this by saying that kidneys depend on inflow and outflow, and the inflow and outflow needs to be fairly constant, because when the inflow and outflow isn't fairly constant, you get kidney damage and death. So, in high blood pressure, what happens is, to maintain the outflow, the body has to boost the inflow. So the blood pressure has to go up to get the same amount of fluid filtered through less of a filtering area. Okay? That's cause number one, high blood pressure. Cause number two, peripheral vascular resistance. We have a gazillion miles of blood vessels in our arms and legs and all throughout everywhere, but especially in the extremities. As we get older, or as we age, and aren't as active as we should be, although this even happens with younger folks, athletes who have necrosis of the hip and the like, fibrin tends to come in and clog up the little tiny blood vessels that feed the smaller batches of tissue. As more of that fibrin builds up and clogs off those little blood vessels, it's just like you've got the water running in every tap in your house. How's the water pressure? Down pretty low. Close off all the other taps, only leave one. What happens to the water pressure? Goes up. As the blood can't get to every crook and nanny it's supposed to get into, the resistance to the body wants to get that blood into all those little tissues. Resistance goes up, blood pressure goes up. What the enzymes will do, the enzymes will eat away at the little tiny fibrin plugs that are clogging up your microcirculation. That's easy. Also, given enough time and given enough enzymes, as I said with Dr. Ronsberger's story before, the enzymes will eat away at the scar tissue that's covering over the filtering fingers in the kidneys and eventually lower blood pressure. So what has to happen with lots of the folks who take the Vitalzyme, who are on blood pressure meds, is that all of a sudden their blood pressure is down so low they can barely stay awake. So the warning here is, if you feel that happening, if you're on high blood pressure meds, go see your doc, because you need to have the meds modulated. You need to tone the meds down, because the enzymes are opening up your blood vessels, they're eating away at the glomerulosclerosis in the kidneys, and they're naturally lowering your blood pressure.